So here's some slides I put together. I do workshops fairly regularly on protein because protein is such a big topic. It somehow exploded on the scene probably a year or two ago, and everybody has been talking about protein as kind of like the main thing that they're using to drive either MPS, which is muscle protein synthesis, or weight loss, or all of these different things. And protein is really, really important because in general, when you overeat on protein, it's fairly difficult for your body to convert protein into fat. Whereas if you overeat on sugar or you overeat on fats, those can become stored as adipose tissue fairly readily, but not so much with protein. Another reason protein is big is because it makes you full and keeps you satisfied for a fairly long time relative to fats or relative to carbs. It actually keeps you full for almost twice as long. And so eating protein is a great way to control appetite. A third reason why protein is probably really popular right now is because it does have a high metabolic response relative to the other macronutrients of carbs or fats. And so this will increase the rate at which your body burns energy or calories. And when we talk about a calorie, I want you to think about one thing. A calorie is the amount of energy needed to raise a liter of water 1 degree. So if you're eating 2,000 calories, that would raise 2,000 liters of water 1 degree. Protein drives results, and it depends on what your goal is when you're looking at your protein intake. You might want to increase your strength, which would be more muscle. That's the muscle protein synthesis. You might want to increase your muscle mass. Believe it or not, that you can actually be stronger than folks who look stronger because they're going for an aesthetic look as opposed to a functional look. There's different ways to target muscle groups and get those results. Diet plays a big part in that. You might want to lose weight and can be easily done by chopping off an arm or leg. Or you might want to lose fat, which is a little harder to do because you have to control your body composition. And protein is a really great tool in all of these things, except for chopping off arms and legs. But if you're trying to lose weight, then the satiety and the metabolic results from protein really play into that, especially if you're looking at a calorie surplus versus a calorie deficit. If you're eating more calories than you normally burn, then protein is great to pair with carbs and fats in a well-rounded diet. Whereas if you're just trying to lose fat, then protein is going to be the primary driver because you can eat fewer calories than your body needs, and protein will help keep you full, and it will help keep your muscles fueled without your body turning to muscles as a source of that fuel. Protein also is the most expensive macronutrient per gram. So protein comes in little packets of grams and it's 4 calories. Carbs also come in little packets of grams and that's 4 calories. And fats come in packets of grams, which is 9 calories. Protein will cost the most per gram when you go into the store and you look around. So that's your meats, your eggs, fishes, your dairy. All of those things tend to be the most expensive part of shopping. It also happens to be the most nutrient dense part of shopping because meats, grass-fed meats, can have a really high amount of minerals, can have a high amount of omega-3 fatty acids, can have a lot of micronutrients in there in addition to the proteins. And so you're really paying for all of that bundled together. But let's take a look at using protein efficiently, meaning if you're going to pay for it, you want to make sure that your body is putting it to work instead of just sending it into the toilet at the end of the day. Let's look at 60 grams of protein per day. I find that most women do not get 60 grams of protein per day. And this often leads to hormone imbalance. It can lead to metabolic adaptation at lower caloric intake than they need to be at, which can also lead to weight gain. And it can lead to other things like exercise being ineffective at weight control and sickness and et cetera, et cetera. So getting to 60 grams a day is what I would say is the bare minimum to maintain a normal uh, metabolic balance in your body. But most of the time, men are looking to do additional work, right? We have the idea that we're going to build muscle. We want to be strong because we don't want to ask for help. We want to have power. So if my son the other day, my wife got this van stuck, and we have an NV 3500 van for all the family. She got it stuck in the driveway. She backed over the edge of the driveway a little bit, and it's icy and snowy here. And so my 14-year-old son, who happens to go to the gym with me every morning, he was absolutely thrilled because he pushed the van out single-handedly when she was stuck. And so all that time at the gym, and he's looking at his protein intake and all that, he was really excited that he pushed the 9,000-pound van up over the hill and out of the snow by himself. And this is what men seek to do, is we seek to bring power to all sorts of situations, particularly physical ones. And in order to do that, you would want to look at least 100 grams of protein per day. The quality really matters, because if you get garbage protein in, it's going to hurt your body. It's going to impact your kidney function. It's going to be wasted out. In fact, protein shakes in the market, when you look at how they're processed, you get about 30% of the protein listed on the label. So if it says 18 grams of protein per serving, you're getting about 6 grams of protein out of that serving for a number of different reasons. And I have workshops on that. And I think Cam and I have talked about that on a podcast as well. But 100 grams a day also will help you adapt to muscle protein synthesis, which means give enough things to your body, amino acids to your body, to start putting together muscle proteins. And then if you're looking at going into a calorie deficit to preserve muscle, or if you're looking at bulking up to build muscle, both of these are a great way to do under about 140 grams of protein. And that's what I tend to do, just because I tend to try to increase muscle mass and then cut. So I do like a constant clean bulk and a clean cut methodology in my normal routine. And I get these questions a lot because everybody wants to know, when should I have my protein? If I'm having a shake, when should I have my shake? Should I have it before I work out? Should I have it after I work out? And all of these things. So when you work out, there's 2 states that you can work out. You can work out in a fed state or a fasted state. Depending on your workout is going to impact whether you're working out in a fed state. So if you're fed, if you have a shake before you work out, I would have that pre-workout 20 grams of whey protein. This primes the muscles for starting to synthesize muscle. It gets everything geared up. And then in a fed state, I would not worry about my heart rate or my VO2. And after I was done working out, I would probably have another source of protein. I would have protein post-workout that was really, really bioavailable, probably broken down already to some extent with some enzymes and things like that, because after a workout, you've got blood going to all of your muscles to repair, to build, to nourish those muscles. And if you have a protein source that's like a piece of steak, then the muscle is going to go to the blood is going to go to your stomach to try to digest that steak. It's going to come out of the muscle where it's trying to repair, and you're going to have an inefficient muscle repair time as your body tries to digest that. So having a really digestible source of protein is important post-workout. Studies show that having about 30 to 40 grams of casein protein before bed is as effective as working out and having protein post-workout. Just the way your body's repairing itself at night and the slow absorption of casein protein work together to build muscle. And of course, throughout the day, about every 3 hours, you want 20 grams of protein. So there's a lot of different ways you can combine all of these protein thoughts to get your 60, 100, or 140 grams. And I work with people, Cam works with people, and we can help you if you have questions on that. But Cam, I'm done talking about these practical applications for protein, and I'll turn it back to you so you can talk about a solution that we found really effective in just about all of these cases.